don't think people have freedom of speech. This guy's showing you right here what the homosexuals think of the U.S. Constitution. This guy here is a perfectly good example. You're the asshole.
Oh, you're
the asshole. You're not letting the speaker
over on the other
speak.
side and take mark that spot and vote no on Justice Turnus, vote no on Justice Strace, vote no on Justice Baker. You do that, you send a message to this state, everybody in Iowa, everybody in America is going to know that we're not going to be run over by rogue judges.
That's what the homos are all about, and then they wonder why people don't like them. This guy's a perfect example of what's wrong with the homosexuals in public policy. He's a jerk. All he wants to do is step on other people's rights. And that's what the homosexual agenda is all about, stepping on people's rights.
And we will vote no, and we will send that message.
Well, for years the homosexual have been doing a lot of devious, deceptive con jobs, and currently one of their priorities is to try to invent this stupidity that they're calling homosexual marriage, which is a oxymoron if there ever was one. And it's a very dangerous racket they're doing. It's once you got the homosexuals busting out in the open, we got AIDS all over the place. It kills millions of people. And when you see the homosexuals taking over governmental operations like San Francisco or Iowa City or wherever, things get real nasty real fast. And they basically operate like a racket. It's like the mafia or communists or Nazis, things like that.
How do they operate in like communists or Nazis?
Well, I mean it's a buddy boy network.
Say that again.
It's a buddy boy network, favoritism, that kind of thing.
Okay, and so how have we seen that in Iowa City?
When I was in medical school, I was being blackmailed by a dean of students. She didn't want to be prosecuted, and she didn't know what else I knew about her. So she had a friend of hers down in Missouri try to lure me out of town with a phony job offer. That's the kind of racketeering that they do.
So I'm confused. What was she blackmailing you about?
Okay, I was in medical school at the time, and she was running through all kinds of weird contrivances that it'd take hours to go into. But one of the things that she was trying to do is she was trying to convince me that I'm a mental case and I'm a psycho and I need to go see some friend of hers that she had all picked out for me to go see. Well, I investigated them, and that's how I found out about this lesbian network that she was involved with. The idea of marriage is ordinarily, it doesn't always happen because sometimes people are infertile, but the whole sex drive is basically about making babies, and typically, historically, one person would go out and work and the other one would stay home and tend to cars at home. And historically, there was in terms of human evolution, there was a utility for homosexuality in that, like hundreds of thousands of years ago, the homosexuals were most likely people who tended the caves, tended the kids around the cave, that kind of thing. And so the guys are out hunting. You need somebody to keep an eye on things.
And so why should homosexuals pay for the benefits of heterosexual couples?
Why should homosexuals pay for the benefits of gay? Because the people who are married are ordinarily producing children. Like, where do you come from? You came from heterosexual parents, right?
Right, I'm also heterosexual, yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you come from. But homosexuality doesn't accomplish anything. It spreads diseases around, especially with the male homosexuals, AIDS and syphilis and all that kind of thing. The CDC, Centers for Disease Control, came out with statistics about a year or two ago, and male homosexuals have like 45 times as much AIDS and syphilis. The exact numbers are 44 and 46 times, but in round figures, male homosexuals have about 45 times more AIDS and syphilis than anybody else. Homosexuality does nothing for society. It doesn't do anything productive. It's very, very destructive. And I've seen from personal experience, real nasty rackets. Word around Iowa City too, for instance, is that Steve Supple being blackmailed for being a homo, and that's why he pulled out a baseball bat and clubbed his family to death. They're not going to, it's the kind of thing that people aren't going to admit to. While he was doing all this stuff, he was calling his family at the law office I've done, and here's what I'm going to do next, that kind of thing. And you know, when they're not releasing the tapes, you know, they got something to hide.